Uh, so we have an interesting set of panelists out here. We have Prasanth representing the government. Prasanth works with KSIDC, and he largely looks at the infrastructure side of KSIDC's work. So he will lend some perspective to it. We have Dhanuraj, who leads the Center for Public Policy and Research, which is a think tank which focuses on strategy, which focuses on policy making, and we will get some perspectives on that. Sreejith leads the Bank of Baroda business in Kerala, and we have a banker in the midst as well. So he will give us some perspective on what is the flow of capital in Kerala, and is there some movement towards sustainability, and what are the trends he's seeing on that side in terms of the banking. So the topic is quite large, and just to give you a perspective on how we want to do this, look at what we are discussing as a trifecta of things. We are looking at sustainability, we are looking at policy making, and we are looking at the availability of capital, whether it is bank capital or whether it is private equity capital, what is available for people in Kerala. So these are the trifecta of things. Essentially like 3 Venn diagrams: sustainability, policy making, and source of capital. And let's see how, what is the intersection of each of these, and we'll have the speakers speak. I'll start with Prasanth, because Prasanth has a presentation which has the ESG policy which is being drafted for the state. It's not a policy yet, but Prasanth will give you more details on that. If we can have Prasanth's presentation. Yeah, it's there. You can see it there also. Yeah.
We have only limited time, so we skip the initial few slides. It is more of a general thing. It is basically sustainability is society, economy, and environment. Just skip through. Then they passed the society and environment. Now we talk more about global, reducing carbon footprint, increase efficiency, like that. I am just skipping these slides because we do not have much time.
The mic is not audible.
We do not have much time, so we are skipping these slides quickly. These are some of the global companies with the green initiatives. You can also see, so I am not explaining too much on this. Okay, next. This is Indian scenario. Our PM said India will go carbon neutral by 2070. That is still lot to go. These are the other things like green financing, green economy barometer, challenges. Okay, next. These are some of the examples. I could suggest 1 or 2 from Kerala, Cochin International Airport, who has a solar powered airport, and we got built a 13-story beautiful building at Vennala. The other things, Reliance Industries, Cummins India, even Kochi Metro has e-auto, e-cycle, vertical gardens, solar powered stations, feeder buses, etc. So next. These are some supporting Green City, Green India Mission, carbon financing, carbon credit, etc. Just skip next one. This is the ESG policy which our moderator has talked about, because it is still in the draft stage. So this is the basically the vision, mission, and objective of this policy to create a sustainable and responsible future, to position Kerala as a leading destination for ESG compliant investment, and to drive positive impact and long-term value creation for stakeholders. In the future, the state of Kerala, with its natural beauty and commitment to ESG, will be on a journey towards a more responsible and sustainable future. As the story unfolds, it will be evident that Kerala will not just be preserving its natural treasures, but also creating a legacy of responsible industry and responsible investment for generations to come. This is the basic framework of the ESG policy. Yes, next one. This is our action plan. We will be bringing with a dedicated policy for promoting ESG-focused MSME development. Then there will be a sector-based ESG rating framework and aligning with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And then there will be a dedicated fund shall be formulated to provide green incentivization for entrepreneurs promoting sustainable industry practices. Investment promotion meets, then various incentives shall be offered for business MSMEs adopting ESG practices as per the ESG criteria. Next. This is the industrial policy, most of them will be aware about it. Just next. This is some of the key features of policy promoting sustainable industries. This is promotion of green and clean technologies, circular economy initiatives, sustainable industrial parks and clusters, incentives for green investment, promotion of electric mobility. Then next. Again, sustainable tourism and eco-friendly practices, water conservation, waste management. These are policies that encourage water recycling, rainwater harvesting, efficient water management practices, then renewable energy for industrial units and adoption of ESG standards. Then next. This is the policy challenges and gaps. There are many gaps and many challenges, but I highlighted only 3 out of that. It is balancing development and conservation. We need development as well as minimize environmental impact. This is again we require coordination between stakeholders, like all the departments and industry, knowledge, universities, all should be stakeholders in this. And the infrastructure deficiency, we have a lot of deficiencies, but mainly transportation bottlenecks, slow administration processes. These are some of the things I highlighted with regard to policy challenges and gaps. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Prashant. We'll come back to Prashant. So Dhanu, so you look at public policy and you think about public policy, you think about drafting, and you do a lot of work on that side. So besides, of course, sustainability is one thing that we want you to comment on, but what are the general challenges of public policy?
See, public policy is all about 3 elements. One is Sarkar, second is Samaj, and third one is Bazaar. It's a typical public policy framework. And whenever we...
What's the third one?
Bazaar, market. Okay. Samaj, Sarkar and Bazaar. So whenever we prepare, when we start debating, researching on various issues, coming up with a framework for public policy, one of the things that we should look at is what are the unintended consequences or inadvertent consequences of the public policy making. So in a state like Kerala, I always wonder what do you mean by sustainability? Because sustainability is a very relative concept. It could be different from US to India to north of India to south of India. So I think we need to build a consensus reaching out to all these 3 elements. State government, people, meaning society, and market. And we represent market to a great extent in this audience. So my experience here is most of the times we don't look at the unintended consequences. We can't impose things, we can't intervene in the systems if that is going to less development oriented, because in a state like Kerala, we are looking for growth, opportunities, employment. So sustainability argument cannot be, we are all for green Kerala, we are all for greenery around us. But at the same time, I think we should also be concerned about how do we balance that. There's a trade-off in all these things. So I'll just give an example so everybody will understand. We talk about e-mobility now. I know from in Kochi, for example, I work in this system. We are waiting for electric autos to come for a long time, right? My point is, don't wait for electric mobility, right? You bring autos first to make sure that your last mile connectivity is done. And gradually you have to phase out diesel autos with electric autos. The moment you wait for electric autos to come with the support of some central government scheme, more and more people are going to use private vehicles and they don't go back to your public transport. This is a classic example I can give you. So every sector, I think every sector we are discussing in Kerala, I think we should also look at unintended consequences, because there could be, intention is right, but public policy, what matters is the outcome. How do you assess the outcome part? We are all have positive intent. I don't think anybody sitting here has got a opposite idea about greenery, sustainability and all. We all have right intentions, but when you process it, when you implement it, make sure that we are getting the desired results, outcome.
Very interesting. So, Sarkar, Samaj and Bazaar, that's a new one. Yeah, good to know. So, Sreejith, so you bank and you lead a very large bank across India and you head the Kerala operations. What has been your experiences in terms of some of these new concepts like green funding, and even in your portfolio, are you looking at supporting a lot of these SMEs or some of these sectors which he mentioned about electric mobility, and is there a focus for Bank of Baroda to do some of that?
Yeah, good morning all of you. First of all, I thank TiE Kerala for giving this opportunity to be here. Yeah, when it comes to, now the sustainability is the buzzword. Wherever we go, we listen a lot about sustainability. And when it comes to funding, first of all, maybe in India, we can see two banks have come out with the green deposits. One is State Bank of India and other one is Bank of Baroda. So we utilize those funds mobilized under the green deposits exclusively for projects which are supporting the environment friendly projects or such similar projects where sustainability is the key factor. So that is one new concept which we have seen in India for the first time. Apart from that, as far as funding is concerned, we have got a lot of projects, a lot of schemes where every bank, you can see PM Kusum, we can see PM Surya Ghar Yojana, where solar, we are actually motivating people to shift to renewable energy in a big way. Whether it is a lot of MSME units are being funded for transition to renewable energy in a big way. That is one major step. Government is also taking keen interest in seeing that adequate funds are flowing to these units, and over a period of time, we are transforming into a situation where majority of the companies, especially MSME units, are utilizing solar power or other renewable energy for operating their units. So that's happening over a period of time.
Just this green deposits, I'm sure a lot of them, a lot of our audience doesn't understand this concept of green deposits because a lot of banks in Kerala are not really, into. If you can explain green deposits to the audience, what exactly it is, and
nowadays we can see, when we shift from traditional situation to more environment friendly situations, there is a cost to it. But the trend is today's generation is keen in seeing that I am leaving something to my next generation. That thought process is there in every individual in nowadays. You can see the young generation are very keen. If you have to spend something for a cup of tea, I would prefer a paper cup, which is environment friendly, rather than our traditional previous how we use plastic cups or something like that. So everyone in a small way they are trying to contribute in their own way to the environment, thinking that our next future generation should also be left with something in this world. So we have come out with a green deposit where interest rate we pay is slightly less than the normal deposits.
Oh, okay.
Maybe 0.055 basis points less than the normal deposits. Even then, we have seen a very good positive response from the people in investing in such deposits, because the ultimate aim of the institution is to see that these funds are exclusively used for such projects only.
So even the project proposals you take for using the green deposits have to qualify those sustainability parameters and
Exactly, yeah.
so I think that's something for the audience. In case you have businesses which qualify under some of these sustainability parameters, it's a good opportunity to get funds which are slightly lower than the cost of capital of some of the other funds. Coming back to Dhanuraj, so Dhanu, again, this entire sustainability area, while the government has created some policies, and Kerala government is also, KSID is also doing something of that sort. Uh, it's still not ingrained in the, in the business ecosystem. We are still looking at it as a checklist. So somebody was mentioning, one of these conversations earlier this week with an industry, with an industry association, somebody was saying that we still look at sustainability or CSR as that, what do we do with that 2% which we have to mandatorily spend? And it takes a lot of effort to explain that sustainability and CSR is not about using that 2%, it's about looking at the way you're running businesses. So when you create policies for these, how do we make sure that it doesn't remain a checklist and it doesn't remain something which you are forced to fill and it becomes part of your business and how can the policymakers do something better?
There's a reason why I started with Samaj Sarkar and Bazaar, because I think one of the challenges in Kerala's public policy space is we don't interact that much. Okay, we believe that we interact that much, but the kind of interaction I and you are part of other parts of the world, when I compare with that kind of interaction that we have here is very limited. The reason is you are projecting, you are proposing, you are imposing something, right? Without taking people into confidence. You are coming with projects. Unfortunately, whenever I, whenever I discuss these budgets, for example, state budgets or municipal corporation budgets, it's all about projects. I'll build this thing, I'll do this thing, I will do that one, right? That is not the budget document as such all about, right? This is all about you are giving a prescription and guideline for the long-term vision. This is how the state should be. And this is how our economy, this is how our ecosystem, this is how we are going to protect biodiversity. And what kind of business we have. What kind of business we would like to see. For example, cities like Kochi, if you look at urban space, Trivandrum, Kochi and Calicut, for me, one of the challenges we are facing today is we don't know what kind of business this city should have. If you look at global cities around the world, every city decided at one point of time, let's look at London, let's look at Hong Kong. They decided this should be the financial capital of the world. So this is the kind of people they should come here. This is the kind of transport we should arrange for them. This is the kind of housing we should develop for them. But we are confused. And it's not a rocket science as far as I understand. But we are not ready to step into that, It's a very, very it's very, very tricky and also, it's also very time-consuming consensus building that we need to have. I think that is where, and also I have a feeling in Kerala that though we have a very liberal space here, I strongly believe that liberal space is not translated and transformed into policy actions most of the times. Most of the times we believe that state is the protector and I would say the big guardian. I think any developed country, for that matter, to my understanding and to my knowledge, the state is only a facilitator. That is where the interplay of Samaj and Sarkar and market comes. But unfortunately, we believe state is going to provide us everything, state will decide this thing, and we are going to, that when state is offering things, when state comes with a project, it should be only about tick marks and check boxes. That's the issue.
Thanks, Arun. Prasanth, so when you create a ESG policy like this, just for the audience, so how does KSIDC create this policy? So is it a lot of discussions amongst, let's say, policymakers, or do you reach out to the industry for ideas, or do you look at, let's say, what some other countries or other states have done? What's the normal process that you follow?
Normally, we discuss with all the stakeholders, including bureaucrats, including FICCI, CIA, all those bodies, and then the industry, of course, the major industry, and we again, since it is only a draft stage, we need to discuss further on that with the stakeholders. With all the consensus only, we could make a detailed policy with regard to that. What he said is normally right. Sarkar is only a facilitator. We can, actually, it is for the people and for the market. So the feedback, everything should come from the people, because society is broadly benefited out of such policies. And also in the future, all the industry also in turn get benefited. Whether we will be talking more about electric mobility, there will be infrastructure gaps. We need not have sufficient charging stations, locations, and the charging time, and again the recycling of batteries, and funding required for replacement of batteries. So I am just talking about one area. Then the water recycling, water management. We have so much of rivers, so much of rain. Still in 2-3 months time, probably by March, April, there will be lot of deficiencies in water. All these contributed to environment. So that time, if we have a better managed systems, we could get rid of these small things, because we have sufficient rains, maybe much more than what we require. So we need to avoid other natural, some calamities can be avoided, it is man-made. So like that, so many things we can work with the government, because the government can facilitate with stakeholders and get out of a very good policy, which will be benefited for the society as well as the market.
So that's interesting. So one more point which I wanted to build on Sreejith's point as well is, if you are a business which has a sustainability related product, so let's say, the winner today on the Capital Cafe, hydrogen, etc. So there are lots of funds which are focused into, they raise money from other investors and put it in a fund so that they can focus on some of these ventures. So today, if you are extensively looking at funds in Europe, they ask you what your ESG score is. They want to know what you're doing on sustainability. To the extent, if you ask some of the food manufacturers and spice manufacturers, you would hear that if you have a large European client, he is likely to even ask you, what are you doing with your CSR money? And they want to see impact reports of some of the projects which you're doing, etc. So that was broadly what we wanted to cover. One last word in terms, I think again we'll start with Sreejith. For the audience who are looking at, let's say, Bank of Baroda, how are you different from some of the other banks? Or, are you different, besides of course the size? How do you differentiate yourself with so many banking options which are available for MSMEs and SMEs out here?
First of all, in Kerala, our presence was not great till 2019 when amalgamation happened, and 2 more banks were amalgamated with Bank of Baroda in 2019. So our presence almost doubled since then. In a broader perspective, from Indian context, we are the second largest public sector bank as of March 2024. And our business as of today is 25 trillion. And the major differentiator which I would say is we have a big international presence. And Kerala being NRI oriented, here the diaspora is different. So we have a presence in almost 17 countries outside India, and especially in United Arab Emirates, where we are the only Indian bank with a retail license, and we have completed 50 years of service in UAE. So that makes us a better bet when it comes to any other bank. Even a small example I can tell you, a customer having a deposit in Kerala, in one of the banks here, he can avail an OD facility in UAE. The funds are properly utilized, which otherwise he would not have benefited in that fashion.
Interesting. Dhanuraj, again on public policy, etc. Some of these entrepreneurs may have ideas on, what could be public policy changes. How do they engage with the government? how do they, or do they come to intermediaries like you who do think tanks and etc.? How do they reach you if they have ideas on public policy?
I think one of the why I'm worried now in Kerala is we need to build a knowledge society. A lot of conversation around knowledge economy, but my take is we have to have a very good education institutions. We have education institutions, but probably we have to improve, upgrade the education institutions, the outcomes. So one is, I think all of us have to work towards that, work towards building a knowledge society where our children, our future leaders, they understand all these issues in depth and they start debating, creating works. I mean, creating in the sense they keep writing, keep debating. I think Kerala is a very, noisy society, but at the same time, how much noise, in fact, we have to filter that noise actually. We have so much of noise, but I don't think, we are also very argumentative. I think more than argumentative Indian, I think Malayalis are very argumentative. But at this, we are coming to, I think it's all helped us in all these decades, all these centuries. I don't have any negative sense of being an argumentative Malayali. But given the knowledge and information produced globally, I believe that knowledge and information has to come here, and we also have to produce that knowledge. So I believe platforms like this, I know so many students are here, so many education institutions are here. I think we should tie up with them. We should take this debate to the college campuses because they are the people who are going to take us forward. Second, we also have research institutions, we have universities, we have colleges. I think we should keep continuing engaging with them, business groups and entrepreneurs. And the third party is, some people like us, we are part of the think tank community. We are not intermediaries because that's a very tricky word. We keep writing. We keep writing in media, we come on television, we keep debating on platforms like these, and we also have access to government. We take this to government circles. And it's a long process. But one thing, before I stop, I would like to say that we should get rid of this idea that, the state is the big mother idea that we all have. State is only a regulator and facilitator. We are the people who constitute state, and we are the people who represent and reflect the state, and we should have this open dialogue all the time in all these issues.
Thanks. Prasanth, so you showed the ESG policy, etc. If people have ideas on this, how do they reach you? Is there a website, or KSIDC has a portal where they can send some suggestions?
All of them can send their suggestions to our investment promotion team. We have a dedicated team for investment promotion. They will be formulating the draft, everything. Whether it is public or industry, they can send their ideas or feedbacks or whatever modification, because again it will be on the draft stage, but however it will be open for discussion in some forums, so people can give their ideas.
So you heard them, the time's up. Just to sum up, so we talked about sustainability, some bit of policy making, and the availability of funds, both bank funds and private equity, venture capital. You heard the earlier session on venture capital where they mentioned about some of those metrics which they look for in organizations. Do we have time for 2 questions, Nisha? Yeah?
Maybe.
So if somebody has a question, so we have limited time, so if you have a comment, you can tell us offline. But if you have a question, do mention who you want the question to be answered by, and we'll take 2 quick questions and wrap up. Yeah, if somebody can give her a mic.
Yeah, I've got it. Yeah, do we have a ESG policy for the MSMEs? Like, if you are just presenting the case of an MSME, do you have a ESG policy? So that is to Mr. Prasanth of KSIDC. That's one thing. And another thing, like, in the case of Bank of Baroda, do you have exactly a policy for evaluating the projects of MSMEs in this ESG ground?
Like I showed in the presentation, it is for the MSME. If it is a sustainable industry, it is for the MSME. Not only for MSME, but we will be giving enough thrust to MSME in the policy.
Yeah.
And there will be those who are implementing the ESG practices. We are proposing some kind of incentives, subsidies, everything for that. It is not a small amount, but we still in the pipeline, but we will be providing a lot of incentives for the ESG practices.
So just to note, it's in the draft stage. What he presented is not the policy. It's in the draft stage, which will eventually become the policy.
So Kerala has many agricultural produce, GI tagged agriculture produce. Is there any specific policies to promote agripreneurs?
So in terms of so I have seen some of the KSIDC general policies. There are some policies depending on the kind of products you make. So there is no agripreneur policy which I have seen, but the industry policy which he presented, which is the 2023 policy, it has some aspects of agriculture and some aspects of products of agriculture as well. So, you can read the policy document in detail. Anything, Prasanth?
Yeah.
Any specific portals are there to...
Any manufacturing unit, we will support, provide you all the support, irrespective of whether it is agriculture. We are happy to provide more support because it is in the agriculture. More than that, most of the agriculture producers are in the green sector. So we will be happy to support you in all aspects, including funding.
Now, any specific portals are there to integrate with the global value chain market, especially for GI tag products?
At present, it is not there. We will think about it.
Yes,
So as of now, there is no global portal which is, which you can reach through the KSIDs, but I'm sure, there will be conversations. We have the large Investor Kerala meet coming up in February.
Yeah, February 21st and 22nd, there will be, again, it is in the same venue.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Sir, may I add to that?
Hello.
There are schemes for sustainable industrial development. One is Kerala Green Manufacturing Scheme, which is offering financial incentives to businesses adopting green manufacturing processes and clean technologies. Example is support for companies using energy efficient equipment and waste recycling. Similarly, there is another one, Kerala Renewable Energy Incentive Scheme. Provide subsidies and loans for businesses transitioning to renewable energy sources like solar and wind. Examples are solar panel installations in industrial units in Kochi and Kozhikode. Then Kerala Electric Vehicle Subsidy Scheme is there. Subsidies for MSMEs adopting electric vehicles for transportation and logistics. Then Waste to Energy Scheme is there. Supports MSMEs in converting industrial waste into energy. This is one of the major parameters when we talk about sustainability, because waste management. So there is example like plastic waste recycling projects in Kochi. Many municipalities in Kerala also on utilizing.
So some of this data is available. So maybe offline if you want to reach Prasanth, or otherwise look at the KSIDC portal itself during these breaks and reach Prasanth.
With regard to, sir, specific question on bank.
It is there in the presentation. Those who want to share the presentation, it is possible.
Sure. We'll share. You had one more thing.
With regard to specific question on bank, we have a separate vertical for ESG. Just like any other business development unit, we have a separate vertical which is being headed by a chief general manager in corporate office, looking after the entire portfolio across the sector. And one more additional question was there. That was about, can you just repeat? You asked specific schemes. We do have schemes also, where specific focus on ESG.
So some of you can reach out to Sreejith during the break. So thanks, Nisha. I'll pass it on to you. Thank you for the questions. Again, please feel free to reach out. Don't look at it as a one-time session. If you have questions, do feel free to reach out, as some of us are here. And again, happy to pick up some of those questions offline. Thank you.